At a town hall meeting, Licht reportedly said that if saying stupid things becomes a trend for Lemon, then there will be recourse. And I tweeted out, if. I realize he only took over about a year ago, but there's a history here. Hello, McFly.
Yeah, Don Lemon I'm always reminded of this amazing profile of Don Lemon. You've got to go back and see it. It's in GQ. I think it's 2015, 2016, right before Trump. And it starts with this amazing anecdote where he's having lunch with the reporter. And for dessert, he says, I'll have some sorbet. And the reporter says, oh, you mean like sorbet? And he goes, no, it's called sorbet. And then he calls the waiter over. It's called sorbet, right? And he's like, sir, it's sorbet. And he's like, oh, well, you learned something new. It's like, look, and that's the nice Don Lemon. That's when he was curious and sort of fun. No, he spent years saying stupid things and more importantly, offensive things, I think, to so many people, including, I would imagine, CNN viewers, that it is amazing. Although he has been, of course, relegated to the morning show at this point. In theory, I guess he's back tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. It does not seem like he seems like the old regime more than perhaps anyone right now who's left at CNN. And
do you think he's going to survive this?
I would be surprised if there's a long-term plan where Don Lemon is the star of the morning show for CNN or the star of any element of CNN. He seems so representative of what they're trying to get out of now. And I don't have reporting on this, but it certainly feels like Don is it. What would be the purpose of it? The ratings are horrible for the morning show. He's only making news in the most negative ways possible. He's bringing down two, I would say, pretty good journalists in Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow. Mileage may vary on that. But what is the point of it? I can't imagine it's a long-term fit.
I've been critical of some of how like Poppy and Caitlin have handled this, but I like them. And I do think they have potential. And I think they're solid in terms of they're earnest. And I think given the chance, they will develop into strong morning hosts or at least anchors. However, here's how I see this latest decision by Chris Licht. Here's a question I have for him. Do women matter? Do we matter? Because it shouldn't have to be that you were raped by a man or 21 women come forward alleging that they'd been sexually harassed by a man or they'd been inappropriately touched by a man for their offense to matter. Because we have seen person after person get fired because they caused offense, mere offense, when it comes to race, when it comes to sexual orientation, when it comes to gender identity. Does women's offense matter? Does it matter? Because this guy managed to piss off half the country. And it's not left or right, it's male or female. And by the way, a lot of the men are with us. You don't have to be a Me Too supporter to be irritated and offended by what Don Lemon said. This one's not breaking down along partisan lines. You got Janice Dean with a great op-ed online. You got Maureen Callahan, she's always great. You got Anna Quinlan, the famed author, and she's a lefty, out there tweeting about what a moron he is. You got the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre, taking a shot at him. This is not a left and right. This is about decency. Do women matter? Does our offense matter to CNN? Or does someone have to grab a boob for us to count Chris Licht? That's my question to you. Because Don Lemon's re-education camp is a farce. It's a lie, and we know it. We know it. No one's fooled by your stupid fig leaf, Mr. Licht. So do something real. Prove to us that you actually see this guy's got a repeated problem with women. He's a sexist. How are you going to let him cover Nikki Haley? How is he going to cover anybody? How's he going to cover Kamala Harris? He doesn't respect women. He doesn't respect the two women he sits at the anchor desk with. And for them to continue tolerating him makes them part of the problem. There's the rant of the day. There you go, Steve.
Cut that clip. Let's get that out.
But you see my point? Like, I'm just sick of it. Like, why does somebody have to like stick his hand down my shirt in order for my offense to matter as a woman? Why?
Right. I think Don, on some level, thought he was criticizing Nikki Haley, criticizing a Republican. And so that's all that he was really thinking through it. And maybe in the old era, that might have been a way of going about it. I mean, certainly I'm sure he said very offensive things about Trump in the context of race or other aspects of it. I don't think it really registered to him exactly what he was doing. And then when it was made clear to him, even in a very casual way with Poppy Harlow, he still didn't get it. He doubled down in the most embarrassing way possible. And seems to, since then, I guess he's given some sort of apology on on Twitter a little bit and on the morning meeting. Nothing really has happened. I mean, he's had a few days off so far.
He went to Miami and frolicked in the ocean.
Yeah, it does not feel sustainable. I will say, and I'll be very curious to see. In theory, he's back on the air tomorrow morning. It's going to be super awkward.
We did, by the way, call CNN and asked about whether there's been any history of problems with Don Lemon and women at CNN, and they ignored us. They blew us off. Okay, fine. You don't want to hand out people's personnel files. I get it. You're not going to be able to avoid it forever. Like, if he's got some history, we're going to find out about it. And then you're going to look stupid. Then you're going to look really bad. And by the way, Chris Licht, I know you're new. You should look into it right now. Before you give him another pass, why don't you satisfy yourself that there isn't a history about which you must be aware as the head of this newsroom, that you owe to his female colleagues and the other women at CNN and in the audience for that matter. The whole thing is outrageous to me. He called and he didn't apologize. He tweeted out it was an inartful comment, an irrelevant comment. He did not apologize until he reportedly was made to call into the CNN newsroom. And his apology went over like a lead balloon, according to the New York Post, which then he comes out and says, well, but I got to be me. I'm still going to be me. Well, you sucks.
What is irrelevant?
You needs work. One of our sponsors today is Donors Trust, the principled, tax-friendly way to simplify your charitable giving. Cancel culture doesn't just affect comedians and commentators anymore. It also affects everyday, hardworking Americans. How so? Well, it can derail their charitable giving. This is an outrageous story, but it's a thing. Take Jeannie's story, okay? Jeannie did her charitable giving through one of the big national donor-advised fund providers. That is, until, without a clear reason, it refused to send her charitable dollars to a conservative nonprofit. Jeannie was unhappy. She writes in, I'm a conservative. I believe America's great despite her imperfections and that capitalism brings great good to society rather than government. Earlier this year, I requested another gift from my donor-advised fund, and it was rejected. Jeannie wanted a donor-advised fund that shares her conservative principles, and she found it in Donors Trust, the oldest and largest donor-advised fund committed to limited government. Do you want a principled partner helping you support the causes close to your heart? If so, consider opening a donor-advised fund with Donors Trust. For more info on how Donors Trust can help, go to DonorsTrust, DONORS, trust.org/MK, and you will get a free copy of their donor prospectus. Check it out, DonorsTrust.org/MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.